Hi, everybody. Welcome to Our Sinclair. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today, Aaron, we're going to be talking about Wheelie. Aaron, let's talk about your history with a bicycle.
All right.
Did you ever have a bike? And did you ever love a bike?
I did.
Tell me about
about
your bike.
It was black.
Mm-hmm.
It had a banana seat.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to have those.
Oh, yeah.
I found the normal bike seat very uncomfortable to the crotch region.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It had cool guy handlebar gimmicks, ribbons, if you will, that came out. And I used to dirt bike my way all over the backside of Hurricane and Taze Valley in this thing. It was awesome. Creeks, jumped them. Like trees, went over ramps, went right up top of them. Everything was great.
Did you ever go right out that hill back behind your parents' house? Take it up there?
I was everywhere.
Yeah.
In fact, all the new development behind my house was all nothing.
Right.
I was out there, man.
Yeah.
I drive where the waypoint is now. I drive right through that. I drove everywhere. It was great. I don't know if kids do that anymore.
I don't think as much
There
anymore.
were herds of kids on bikes. We would all be like a gang. We'd just shove off.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was great.
Did you have any sweet pegs?
I didn't do the pegs. That was, no. Listen, no. I wasn't going to jack up my bike with that crap. I wanted a straight bike.
Tell me about your experience with another kid on your bike. Did
Never.
you ever do that?
No one rode my bike ever.
You never did doubles? Have
No,
somebody
sir.
mount behind you?
I wasn't really built for doubles. I'm more of a solo act, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How about you? Did you ever have a bike?
Oh,
You've got one now, don't you?
I've got a bike now, but not like the one I used to have.
What you used to have?
This thing, Kmart special. All right.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about the bike that I wanted. The bike that I wanted had gears.
No.
It had the really what I wanted was the grabby brake,
Yeah.
not the pedal brake. That was lame.
I had to pedal.
I had the pedal brake too. This thing, my parents. I don't know if you've ever been to my parents' house before. Okay, well, you know where Hurricane Elementary is,
Yeah.
right? Okay, they live in the development that's right in front of the trailer park. Okay, so you got to ride up this hill to get to their house. And man, riding that bike up that hill was the hardest thing in the world. But I do it every day anyway, because what else am I going to do? I'm a
Was
kid.
it a dirt hill or a...
It wasn't a dirt hill. It was a paved hill.
Yeah.
But on the other side, like they lived at the top, and then on the other side, going back down, was gravel.
Yeah.
And the worst thing was, you watched these guys on these. When I was growing up, the mongoose was a big thing. The BMX kind of thing was going on. It was before the X Games. It was like 20 years before the X Games. But every once in a while, you'd hear about kids doing cool stuff on BMX bikes.
Right.
And so I'd say in my mind, what I'd do is I'd take a piece of board out of the garage, because you always got some boards in the garage, right?
Yeah, you gotta have
and you put
those.
it down at the bottom of the hill, and you kind of put it at an incline.
Yeah.
And in your mind, you go down the hill and you shoot up the ramp.
Just like a 2x4?
Into the air, yeah, just a 2x4.
So you were really, had precision aim with your bike.
Man. So what actually happens is you shoot down the gravel hill, right? Your tire hits the front of the 2x4. It can't clear it. It's too high.
Yeah.
You skid into the gravel and you scrape up the side of your face.
Did you have a lot of bike wrecks when you were a kid?
It's just like constantly scabbing up the face.
We had a down at I live where my parents live, so that's where I used to run. And there's a big long stretch of hill, and at the bottom we built like a dirt mound, because you got to, right? And we would run down this thing and hit the dirt mound. And I was not super keen on this, but everyone else was doing it. And so I got a big long run. And inevitably what would happen is you'd hit the hill. I could go over the hill, and then when you landed, since your body was going forward, your area would basically move off the seat, and then you would crotch yourself on the pole.
Oh, yeah.
The pole of death.
I always wondered why, because that when I was a kid, you always knew what was a boy's bike and what was a girl's bike. Because the boy's bike had it straight across,
Yeah.
and the girl's bike had it going down.
Yeah.
And I always wondered, why is it like that? Why don't they make the boy's bike so you don't rack yourself so easily like the girl's bike?
Well, if it went down, you would still rack yourself. It would just be at a weird angle. So maybe there's probably did experiments.
A wise man.
This rips them up even worse.
Maybe so.
Now,
maybe
also
so.
the chick bike had the basket on it.
Hey,
That's the way he used to have them.
sometimes it's nice to have a basket on your bike.
You know what's really, when you've got the old pedals that you slam on to stop, the pedals have this like ridging on them. How many times did that stuff eat into your calf?
Oh
and
my
stuff?
gosh, constantly. Or what would happen is you go on you hit the brake, your foot would somehow catch, and your whole shin right down the side of the pedal.
Have you ever done that gimmick where your shoelaces get caught in the pedals?
Oh man. I never had
bad
tied
time.
shoes until I was about 25.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's stupid. Now you were a 100% sort of leather coat wearing biker type for a while.
Just a total tough dude.
And what kind of motorbike did you have?
I've driven I've been on tons of motorcycles because when you live in Thailand, you take motorcycle taxis everywhere. This is where you take your life in your hands.
Yeah.
And you get on the back of this bike, and this guy weaves you through traffic, so where your elbows are bumping the buses as you're passing.
I've seen a video of the Thai traffic, and it does look it looks nightmarish.
Yeah. The only time I've actually ever able when I piloted a motorcycle was right before our wedding.
When you piloted one?
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to learn how to ride a motorcycle. So I took the motorcycle, because everybody in Thailand's got motorcycles just laying up. I took this motorcycle
everywhere, just laying around.
I took this motorcycle out to the road in front of Eep's yard.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is Eep's parents' house. And I fire it up. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to it. And then I started to move, and I hit the gas. And I jolted forward with a speed that I did not expect.
Like the Tron bikes?
Yeah.
Just like from 0 to 100?
It was insane. And all of a sudden I went, ah! And then Eep's aunt comes running out of the house, because she's afraid I'm going to kill myself before our wedding, which probably would have happened if she hadn't put a stop to it.
Yeah.
That was the only time
That was it? So how far did you end up traveling?
Oh, I went probably almost 10 yards.
I see.
Yeah.
And I will say, you were 10 yards further than I've ridden on the back of a motorbike, but I've never actually driven one.
Tell me about your time on the back of a bike.
It didn't go too good.
Did you go out to Old Man Johnson's farm?
No, my Uncle Mike, who was the youngest of my mom's brothers and sisters, had a motorbike when he lived out in Cabin Creek. Let's get real creaky.
Yeah.
My mom's side of the family lives in Cabin Creek, West Virginia. You can look it up. And Cabin Creek's way out in the sticks, even by West Virginia standards.
Yeah.
And so this is back when the coal mines were still cranking. And so all over the place would be these huge mounds of coal. It's true.
Yeah.
And so my Uncle Mike took me out to one of these huge mounds of coal, and he was like, hang on. And here's young Aaron like, oh, what? And he just proceeds to just drive up one. And these suckers were steep, and they were tall, And so that was it for my bike riding. I was like, screw this. And also, coal was not tightly packed, as you know.
Oh, no.
It was big fist-sized chunks of coal flying everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you're a creek person out on the sticks, you're used to that kind of crap. And if you go anywhere around West Virginia, everyone's on motorbikes and 4-wheelers and 3-wheelers.
I wish that I could. I do have a dash cam. Sometime I'm going to have to just upload some footage whenever I cross Route 60 on a Sycamore
Road. It'll be like the Thailand
road.
footage.
Yeah. You see, guys, I saw a guy on a lawn tractor last week, just coming down the road.
I read a thing on the news where someone had stolen one of those battery-operated Walmart carts and drove it to like the local bar.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's living right there.
That's great.
So we really don't have a lot of experience popping wheelies, do we? Did you ever pop one on your actual bike? On purpose?
In my mind, my wheelies were great.
It'd be like that far off the ground.
Yeah,
You're
but
I
would tell my parents, I got such air, you would not believe it.
I'm glad the BMX thing wasn't going on when I was a kid, because I'd be dead a million times. We just drove them around. We didn't think much about the BMX stuff.
Yeah, the wheelie thing was beyond me. I always told myself if I had a better bike, but really, I didn't. If
you had a better body with a better skill set, you might have a chance.
Yeah, should have put some more points into bike dexterity.
Yeah, that's what it was. Give me a break.
Let's talk about Wheelie, Aaron.
Well, this is quite a game, Boat. I have to say. Now, when I heard we were doing Wheelie this week, I was like, oh man, this is going to be motorbike action. Action Jackson. Well, there is a motorbike involved in this. So this game released in '83 and published. I had to do a little research. It was published by an outfit called Microsphere. Okay, Microsphere has an interesting history. I thought this was great.
Are you sure it's spear or is it sphere?
Sphere. That's what I said. Sphere.
That's a weird way of saying that.
How do you say it?
Sphere.
That's what I said.
Okay. Continue.
Are you ragging on my speaking?
I would never do that.
Don't be hassling me on my talking, brother.
Okay.
We're from West Virginia.
That's true.
Anyways, Microsphere was a little British outfit. Now, maybe you've heard of this place. Muswell Hill, North London, or Muswell. Ring a bell? And they were founded in '82 by a husband and wife duo. And we've actually covered some of their games. So I bridged them, Dave and Helen Rady. And they, amongst the things they did were school days and back to school.
So this is an accomplished duo here.
That's right. And so they were making stuff for the Specky. And when they released School Days, which sold a ton. Now this actually this was the game, from what I've been able to find out, this is the game they made directly before they made School Days. So like that, School Days was their big super duper
Their magnum
hit.
opus.
And one thing I liked about this outfit is that they never used computers to do any of their programming.
You're right. It was all graph paper.
It was.
Paper.
You remember that? They had graph paper, and you wrote everything down in like machine language, which I thought was kind of wacky. Something else that was wacky. The last thing they released was a game called Contact Sam Cruise. I don't know what that was. It didn't sell well, and David Reddy has went on record that he blames piracy for it.
Well.
And so when the 16-bit consoles came out, he was like, "Screw this." He quit doing.
I was going to say, didn't they do like accounting software or something like that?
They quit console
everything.
Game, and he became an electrical engineer.
Oh,
Bam.
okay.
That was the end of Microsphere. So, but hey, in their illustrious career, they did ZX Side Print, Omni Calc. Maybe that's early stuff. A game called Hot Foot. The train game, which I read a lot about the train game, so I'm guessing it was somebody liked it. I don't know exactly what all it's about. Evolution, Wheelie, School Days, Sky Ranger, Back to School, and Contact Sam Cruise. That's their entire allotment of games. So it's still kind of neat.
Not a bad run for a husband and wife.
Not bad, yeah, not bad at all. I think they brought in one extra guy. I think I read that's all that they used. This runs in a 48K. You got your usual joystick support, the whole 9 yards. Originally released at a pretty decent price of, well, I guess £5.95p.
Yeah, just under your typical MSRP.
And
for a game.
the budget price on this one £1.99p. So it was cheaperoo. And so let's talk about this game. Now I don't know if you looked into the backstory of this game. Did you happen to look into it?
No.
May I?
Please inform me.
Will you indulge me?
I would love to hear it.
Because this bears some... So this is sort of like what's on the back of the box, okay? You have just taken delivery of the ultimate two-wheeled machine, the four-cylinder, fuel-injected, turbocharged Zadaksky 500. Cramming your head into a crash... That sounds horrible.
That does.
Cramming your head into a crash helmet, you clamber on and set off for a trial run. Your ride is fast, exhilarating, and effortless as you lose all track of time.
Effortless, not a word I'd use to describe the controls.
I'm not there yet. Soon your home is left far behind. You find yourself in a quiet, tree-lined country lane. Up ahead, you notice a sign pointing to the left. It says, "Private Road. No speed limit to brave riders."
Oh my gosh.
Now this sounds like a recipe for disaster. But not for this guy. At last, your chance to see how fast this bike will really go. You turn in through the old iron gates and open up the throttle. Now none of this stuff's in the game, clearly. So this is where the game This is where the flavor text kicks in.
Yeah.
The bike surges forward. The engine roars, drowning out the sounds of the gates slamming shut. You race into a strange world. No kidding. A world full of danger. A world where giant hedgehogs lie in wait to pounce on harmless motorcycles. That is a strange world. A world where you will need all your skill and courage to survive. The world of the Ghost Rider. Ooh. And then the usual baloney. So there you go. That's your flavor text on this one. Now, when I heard we were covering Wheelie, the last thing I expected to read in my flavor text was that I would be avoiding giant hedgehogs. That never occurred to me.
Yes.
So, what is this game? And I don't have an answer to that. I mean, what is this?
Okay.
What the hell is this?
I'll tell you what it is. This is a game where you are negotiating a multi-leveled cavern. Okay? The view is side-on 2D. Okay? Inside this cavern, there are various things that are going to be in your way. I don't know about hedgehogs, but there are definitely globulous forms of various sizes. Okay?
Red, giant, globulous hedgehogs.
Yeah. And along the way, you have to collect extra gas so you don't run out of fuel, and you also need to make sure that you don't you're not stopped by all these hazards. Okay, once you reach the end of the caverns, which you can only do by, it's kind of a maze. This reminded me a little bit of the maze worlds in the end worlds of Super Mario Brothers. You know how you have to go to the castle, the Bowser's castle, and some of the later levels you have to choose whether to stay on the top, go in the middle, or go on the bottom. This is kind of like that, where you've got to find the right route to take. At the end of this, you're going to find a competitor in which you've got a race to get back to the beginning. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the game.
It seems so simple.
Yeah.
By the way, I like this. In this wheelie view, we've mentioned Mario and a hedgehog. So we've covered all the bases.
We've covered all the bases.
And I'll have to say I don't agree with you. This has zero to do with Mario.
Okay.
This is the goofiest game I think we've ever covered.
I don't know.
This is goofy.
It is pretty goofy.
So, explain the fact that you're underneath the ground, you're jumping buses and cars. Can you explain why those are there?
The buses and cars are there because you're in a motorcycle. What else are you going to do? You know, this was not during the era of Evel Knievel. I think this is sort of post Evel Knievel, but he was still fresh in the minds of many a lad, and definitely in America, probably in England. So if you're going to be riding a motorcycle, you better be jumping some buses. You better be jumping some cars.
I understand what you're saying, but even in his most fevered dream, Evel Knievel wouldn't attempt these stunts. This guy is going a zillion miles an hour and has to come to a complete stop and spin his bike on the dime. This is a very difficult game to talk about. It is a weird game. It's very claustrophobic. There's a lot of, it's not colorful. It's not really that attractive. The sound's not that great. The controls are, I guess they're okay. Would you go?
The controls are you really have to spend some time with them because the speed is important, but also the direction that you're going is important too. The way that you press up and the amount that you press up and down affect things.
Like even your speed going up the ramps. Now, I don't mean the jumpy ramps.
Right.
I mean just getting up them. It's kind of,
because if you don't have enough speed, then you won't physically be able to get up these ramps.
Exactly. And you can get too much speed when you jump stuff and get mauled. There are icy patches, and it just says icy. And so when you go there, you have to slow down,
right?
Or you'll turn the bike over. Very weird game. Did you ever get to the end of the first level to race the bad guy?
Heck no.
I did, after using many save states to get there.
Okay.
And trust me, this was no easy task. And this first level goes on for days. It's long, And this is just, listen, I didn't like this. All right, I'm just gonna come out and say it. This game is sort of, I don't know, this is a very polarizing game. Normally I give these games the benefit of the doubt for age, whatever. In this case, I can overlook everything because the graphics are serviceable, whatever. Just the game is weird. Plus, you're here. You are in this land where there's no speed limits. You can't ever go super fast.
Right.
It's
very much like Sonic the Hedgehog, where you can go super fast, but then you're going to run into some spikes and you're going to die.
Again, that is being very generous in this game. Again,
this game is just like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Continual references to these renowned games are lost on me. The truth of the matter is, I played it. I looked at my notes. Then I played it. I read the docs. I played it some more. I'm like, no, I'm not missing anything. This is the game. I thought maybe you were going to get somewhere and then you could turn it on. Me and Brent covered a game on ARG Presents where you jump a bike over like a bunch of buses. It was a fun game.
Stunt cycle, right?
That's right. And I thought, well, maybe this will be something like that. I mean, the jumps in this are not cool, they're not. I guess they're sort of cool, but they're no great thing.
Right.
When you get off the first level, and I only saw the first 2 levels, I'm sorry to say. On the second level, there's underground like wallabies or kangaroos or something jumping around.
Yeah, they're wallabies.
Right? Well, guess what? That's just as dumb as the hedgehogs. That's the best they could come up with for these weird animals.
What would you like?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Now you mentioned it. Bats?
Oh, yeah, that's real original.
I will say this game, if anything, it is original.
That's right.
I doubt there's
the last thing I'd want is bats. Give me the wallabies. Bring them on.
Something else you've got to watch out for is your gas. All right, you can run out of gas unless you find the gas stations. All right, did you find?
Well, I don't know if they're really stations.
Okay, the word gas.
Right.
All right, I'm using my mind here. Did you ever find gas or run out of gas?
I ran out of gas constantly, but I also found gas.
What did you think of the game? I want to hear your appraisal of this particular title.
I didn't hate this game. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
City Connection. That's why you didn't hate it.
Right. There are some connections with City Connection.
Yeah, it's goofy, and you're in some kind of vehicle.
Right.
Those are the connections.
The way that you have to make these turn on a dime, spin turns and move in an opposite direction is very reminiscent of City Connection. I didn't like the claustrophobic atmosphere of this game. I don't understand why they had to make this game in a cavern. I would have had a lot of fun with this game if they would have just made it set outside. Like, I don't like being cooped up in a cave. It reminded me of Blood Money, where it's just like everything was in my... I mean, this game is obviously much better than Blood Money, but everything was just so close to me that I was just... I didn't have an enjoyable experience. I thought that the controls... It was a unique control system, and I don't want to be too hard on it because I think it is something that you need to spend time with the master. I thought it was neat how, when you approach a ramp, there's a little arrow that points up that says, okay, now is the time that you need to go down. Tons of games could use that.
It reminded me of Dragon's Lair. It's like, when you play the home versions, they have the little thing that tells you which way to go. That's what you need.
Right.
You're right. That does help.
Yeah.
At first, when you come to the dead ends, I thought they were tunnels.
Yeah.
So I was just careening into a full speed. It's like, no. I was like, oh, okay. And never in my wildest dreams did I think you could just turn the bike on a dime.
Here's what I wonder. Why did they make this game the way they did? Why didn't they just... Why didn't they just make this a race from the get-go? Why did they make you have to locate the guy and then race back?
Easy. Because the game you're describing would take about 1 minute, and whereas this game would take double time.
Here's the thing. These levels are super long on their own.
Right.
So, I mean...
Yeah, but now your game is twice as long this way.
Yeah, but, I mean, if your game is twice as long, do you sell twice as many copies?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
I'll have to consult you whenever I enter in a new...
I mean, do you think this would... Let me ask you. Do you think cutting out the beginning of this game and just having the race would have made this a more popular or better selling game?
I think it would have made it a better game.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. It would have been a better selling game.
Well, yeah, it probably would have because it would have reviewed better in magazines because that's what drove sales.
I will say the most part I had was racing the other guy. Because
that's what I'm talking about.
You can sort of follow his path when you can keep up with him, and you can take different paths and try to get in front of him. That was much cooler.
So it's like, okay, not only do you have to find this guy to race him, but then you're racing in a direction that is not conducive. Like, everybody wants to race left to right. Nobody wants to race right to left. That's no good. So I stand by my opinion on that.
What I want to see is the ZX Spectrum Wheelie serial hookup, where one guy plays the Ghost Rider and the other guy plays the other guy, and you have an actual physical one-on-one race.
Sure, that would be
great.
There
you go. Book it. Call the guys over there at Spear Software to get them in there.
Yeah, and I will say, even for a Spectrum game, this game is not pretty.
I think it's funny. A lot of people knock the graphics, but I mean, they're serviceable. It looks like you could put this in the dot matrix display on a pinball machine and it would work fine. Everything's like little dots.
This almost, I mean, I don't know a lot about the ZX81, but this seems like something that the ZX81 could pull off graphically. Maybe not speed-wise, but it's very, very plain.
Well, here's the thing. When it comes to games like this, I just want to have fun. The graphics are, like I said, they're serviceable. It's just that it's a weird game. I mean, I'm not going to bury it because it's so unusual and goofy that I think there's fun to be had if you get really good at it. But I wasn't very good at it, and so I found it quite frustrating, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, it is a frustrating game.
Yeah, and I will say that I would have redesigned the entire level system to be a smoother, more fun ride. Any game where you're driving a motorcycle and you have to turn on the fly every couple feet, what's the point?
Yeah.
You could be on a pogo stick.
That's
true.
Know
what I'm saying? A motorcycle, it sounds to me like...
There is a game that we should play sometime. I know we don't do an Atari 8-bit show, but there's a game called Fraction Fever where you actually do play on a pogo stick.
Is it a kids game?
It's an edutainment game, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Well, I ain't play no education games. Are you kidding me? I've been educated enough, yo. While we were super... So what do you think? Thumbs up or thumbs down on this one, Boat? Before I move on.
I give this one a...
Don't do it. Don't give me no thumbs in the middle. I want a decisive answer.
Okay. I give this a thumbs up with a butt.
Oh, God. Okay, what's the butt?
The butt is maybe don't play this game.
There you go. Well, the magazines of the day disagree with you, Boat, your assessment and my assessment. Crash gave this 93 out of 100. Big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Pixel, 4 stars. 4. Eurogamer.net, all right, a little more modern, 7 out of 10. Sinclair user, 7 out of 10. And this also made the Your Sinclair Top 100 at number 88.
Yeah, I think that these are all high scores.
Now get this. There was a remake of this. Remade as licensed were on the Amiga. How about that? That's kind of cool.
I would play the Amiga version of this game.
We should mention that this game, you can skip levels with the little
code system. Yep.
Code good. Did you try that out?
I did not.
I only tried the first 2 levels.
Well, I
think there are 4 levels.
Yeah, I think all the levels are quite similar. The only difference is the type of enemies that assail you.
And I will say, as per most tapes, $7 to $10 to take this thing home all day long. What do you got for user? Or I always say user. What do you got for a listener review?
Yeah, so as always, if you are a member of our Discord community, you can post reviews for any of the games that we play on the network. Graham W. Vebke says, I Wheelie did not like this game.
Oh!
Zinger. It controls poorly, has lots of flicker, and an eye-splitting red border flash and poor sound.
It does have all these things, yes.
The overall concept, being trapped and needing to ride through a maze on a bike from a weird perspective, is totally bizarre.
Yeah.
If you unfortunately have this game on tape, record the horrid song Rock Me Amadeus by Falco over it for a better use of that tape.
Hold on a second. Now, Graham just stepped over the line. Don't be ragging on Falco, Graham. And don't be ragging on Rock Me Amadeus. That's a great tune.
I do like that song.
I like the remix, but that's just me.
Chris Fold says, I never got on with this as a kid, but after seeing corking reviews for it, since I thought maybe with the wisdom of time I would be enlightened. Nah, it's still a weird exploration game on a motorbike where you have these strange races back to the start. Maybe if I wasn't constantly in fear of a migraine or epileptic seizure from the flickering mess of graphics, I could get into it. As it stands, 3 out of 10. And Pixels at Dawn says, a game I thought I remembered enjoying, but going back to it reminds me that I never figured out the controls back in the day, and I still can't now. Evil Knievel, this ain't. If I could stick the jumps, maybe it would be more fun. It has an interesting atmosphere with the underground exploration, but if you want a trial-style game, you should be looking at ATV or Kickstart 2. 3 out of 10. You
know, Curtis makes an interesting point in the chat. How in God's name did they get those buses down there?
It's like a ship in a bottle, man.
How did they do it?
It's the same deal. Or the egg in the bottle. You ever see that gimmick?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work on a bus.
I don't know how physics work.
Clearly. Physics and singing beyond you.
All right, Aaron, as we close this thing out, I do want to remind everyone that if you enjoy the show, please tell a friend. If you are involved in a Spectrum community, spread the word about the show. We want to get more people in on the Our Sinclair action.
Yeah, man.
If you do like the show, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Our Sinclair. And if you enjoy watching us on Twitch, consider supporting us on Twitch through a subscription. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you can actually subscribe to the show for free, and you will still be able to support the show. If you have any questions for us, you can email us at feedback@oursinclair.com. And I want to thank our Patreon supporters. They are Andrew Waite, Jeff Owen, David Spencer, Cap and Crispy, Laurent Giroux, Gary Heather, Eric Nelson, Harbo Knott, Graham Vebke, Frodo NL, Tapes from the Crypt, Pixels at Dawn, Chris Folds, Boss Man, Paul Harrington, and Christopher Hassall.
All the greats.
All the greats. Aaron, next week we're going out to the pitch.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get on your kit. Get ready to score nil, because we're playing match day 2.
Ooh, tell me this is soccer.
It's soccer.
Okay.
I was trying to set that
Tell
up
me it's
for
not
you.
some kind of thing where you coach the team.
It is not.
All right, I'm in.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks as always for watching. We record this show live every Friday night if you want to join us, just like the fine folks in the chat. 10-minute Amiga Retrocast, Pixels at Dawn Gaming, Silver Streak 72, Delamonte 78, Tinfoil L Curtis B. Thank you guys, Pixels at Dawn. I don't know if I said that or not. Thank you guys so much for being with us. We really appreciate it. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Until then, rewind tape
and press play.